Man, my guy is the Dental Maverick himself, Dr. Tuan Pham. Tuan, what's up, man?
Nothing much. Thanks for the invite. I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time in person.
Oh man,
I'm
so
trying to get
so I'm
through it.
super excited to get you on, man. You're like seriously, man. You're like one of the OGs, and like the coaching and also just always having good content on Dental Town. Now you're bringing it over onto Facebook as well. So I just want to jump right into it. So everyone knows about Dental Maverick, the like kind of the coaching program, which is like nowadays a lot of people do online coaching, but you were like one of the first ones who actually did that, right? And I remember like a true maverick, right? I remember when you were talking about it in Dental Town, and he had all these people like, what the hell? Like, get the hell out of here, man. That's a bunch of BS, blah, 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 all that stuff. And you were like, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. This is how I'm gonna do it. And people were like, no, man, that's not. And that's like, how many, start with that. How long has it been since you started that? Because it just, man,
Yeah.
it seems like a long time ago, but not really. So when did you start that? Let's talk about that.
Well, it was launched, I believe, about 4 years ago, but the preparation for that was probably 6 years ago. It took me 2 years to create the content, organize it, get it filmed, get it edited in a manner that people can, use it and watch it. And
Yeah.
so I remember that thread. It got closed eventually. The video was launched, but everyone was like, no way, this is not going to work. This is, like you said, this is BS. But, I had faith. I had reproduced some of these results in other people and friends that I knew and colleagues that I knew. So I was like, I knew this stuff works. And I'm a dentist, just like you. And, I know how dentists think. I know how people, dentists like to analyze things. We like to know the principle, but we also like to know the system of how to do it. And we love to duplicate things on our own. And so as a dentist, knowing these things, it gives me the ability to present it in a manner that dentists can easily digest, take advantage of. Because most of us, you see online, they complain about the office the most. And if we get that under control, we relieve our stress and life is good. And then you go to you, Nifty, Thrifty, sign up for things they need and they save money on top of everything. The ball keeps
Love
going.
it, man. I love it. And you know what? I mean, and that's the thing for those who are jumping on right now, guys, if you have any questions, like I said, he's on the live now. Just drop your questions in there. And you know what? If you like what Dr. Pham's talking about, put in the comments section, Maverick. Okay, put in the comments section, Maverick there. Okay, so look, let me ask you this, man. Let me ask you this. So obviously, whenever you do something new, there's always some haters, some naysayers and whatnot, right? And so now, after 4 years, you see a lot of online programs too. I mean, you did it first and everyone else is kind of following suit. And now it's kind of accepted now. So from the Dental Maverick program and then shifting to the event, what gave you the motivation to do that?
I like challenges. It arose simply from a challenge. So I was talking to one of my friends, another dentist I know that he helps me do some of this stuff. And he's like, you know what? We should do a Dental Maverick thing, And I had users ask me, hey, why don't you do a live thing? It'd be fun to meet in person. And so at that time I was like, yeah, I'll do it, but I'm about to get married. So that's going to take precedence. But the moment I came back from our honeymoon, I started it. And the first year we launched it, it was great. And now we're on year 3 and it's getting even better. Just like you get the ability to chat with some really cool doctors and meet some really cool people. When you host a CE event, one of the benefits is you get to pull in people. You get people you respect, you may not know them in person, but you like what you read, what you see. You like how they give information or advice or just what they post or just who the personalities are. And so it's wonderful because, hey, I get to meet you in person. I know you virtually, we chatted over email and things like that, but not in person. I have this image of you, who you are, but I don't know you. And when we have an event like this, part of the cool thing about Dental Maverick is not only you have good CE from you and other doctors, you get CE credits, but on top of that, I like to have fun, which means that when I do something, I want people to enjoy themselves. So part of Dental Maverick means we got open bar, dinners both nights.
Oh man,
no extra cost.
That's Nifty Thrifty right there, man. Dinner and bar. Yeah,
dinner both nights. Yeah, and you know what? I bought the liquor, so I know it's not bad liquor too. It's like low liquor, by the way. Okay.
I love it. And that's one thing too that with the social media just kind of exploding the way it's been. Before it was Dental Town, now it's social media. Now on social media, on Facebook, you literally can just message each other. You have a question, you can reach out. But there's something really special when you actually meet someone in person, right? And,
Yeah.
I mean, there's something really special, and you make that extra connection there. And that's what I love about events like yours, Tuan. I mean, it's like really great speakers, really a lot of things that you can take home, actionable items, right? But
Yeah.
then you can have fun too, right? Because, here's the thing. We've been to events where, okay, you had a lot of fun, you didn't even learn anything, right? Or you go to an event, you learn a lot, and you're like, man, it is boring here. I mean, I can't wait to get out of here. And what I've watched with all the video footage is like afterwards, everyone really hangs out at your events.
Yeah. Yeah. Like statistically, for both of our events, 90 plus, I think it was 92+% of people come to these events because why? Well, you know what? When you go to CE event, what happens? You get there, you might check in the hotel, and you look across the lobby. Sometimes you see someone, you're like, I think I know that person. It's like, but many of us, I'm not gonna lie, I used to be more so of one. I'm kind of introverted, so it's a little scary to take that step to meet someone. And then you go to the class, and you're like, damn, that was that person. But then at the end of the day, you maybe chat for a couple minutes in between the breaks, but that's it. But that's good. But how do you get motivated further? How do you keep the momentum going? Well, you keep the motivation, the momentum going by meeting people that you make interactions with. You never know who the next person you meet could be. Your friend, your business partner, could be something you create together. Who knows? Or you're just someone you bounce ideas off because you mesh with each other. Like, I'm going to meet you. I'm going to meet Gina Dorfman. I'm going to meet all these people in real life. And some of them I met before, and I enjoy talking to them. So I'm like, I want to talk to you more, just hang out more. So when we have open bar and dinner, what does it do? It breaks the ice so easy. We all like to have fun, most of us, once we get into our zone. And, it's a little scary when there's a lot of people. But, hey, if I got a drink for you here, and then I say, hey, you know what? We got a little event here. You going to all pair up in fives or whatever. Or you're just going to talk about your favorite procedure or whatever you do. And dentists are nerds. They're like, oh, I hate pedo. I love pedo. I hate endo. I love it. And then they start talking. You get a drink. It loosens you up, and there you go. And now you got new friends. You're excited to see them tomorrow in the class because you might want to sit next to them. Now you know somebody. You're going to learn stuff. And then, hey, when we're done, you cement it together. We all hang out. It's fun. It's relaxed. And usually at the end of the night, a lot of people go out afterwards. So it's a great time.
Well, I mean, that's what CE should be all about, right? Not only learning, right? Learning new things and learning things that actually work that you can take home to your practice. That's one thing. That's what I love about your event, right? But then also making that connection too. So you know what? We from one coach to another, Heidi Mount just said, they told me the same thing. Yes, it takes years to set up and create virtual coaching business. So this is so cool to see you here. And yeah, like I said, I followed when Tuan started this program, and he was on Dental Town, and there was a lot of supporters. So it's not all haters. There are a lot of like, hey, that's awesome. Really. So, a lot of supporters there. And then there was a bunch of people who literally said, who are you, man? What? No one's going to, what? Online? That's a bunch of BS. Oh, you're only going to drip a little bit of information each week? That's a bunch of BS. Well, now it's like, what, 4 years later? And here we are.
Yeah, there's so many results from docs that have improved the practices. I mean, it's principles that anyone can apply. And you're right, there's a lot of haters, but you know what? As hard as it is, and I'm sure you receive the same comments too for your work. Mm-hmm. You got to focus on the positive because you have a mission that you believe in, and in the end result, you see the results and the valuation that occurs from it. And so, people say you drip a little. Yeah, you drip a little on purpose because most dentists, they get overwhelmed with things when they learn, like going to CE. Then you're like, oh, what do I do? Well, if you get a little handpiece, a little couple points every month, that's easy to integrate. And the summation of little integrations leads to massive changes. It's like Nifty, Thrifty. You save a little here, save a little there, save a little here, save a little there. At the end of the month, you're like, ooh, I see a good here.
I love it. Well, guys, like I said, if you guys have any questions for Dr. Pham, drop it in the comments section. If you like what you're listening to right now, type in the comment section Maverick, okay? We get enough of these Mavericks, we might talk about a Nifty Thrifty deal, right? So let's pull this up here. So we have a question here, and most dentists ask this consultant, how do I hold my team accountable? So that's number one. That's a big one right there.
Good one.
Number two, how do I improve my leadership skills? Two, and those are those twos. So let's start with that first one.
Okay.
How do I hold my team accountable?
Well, first of all, that, to be honest, is a question that we can discuss for a long, long time over multiple hours. So I got to give you the condensed version of it. This is a very common question that we get asked, or I get asked. And it starts with, there's two principles that you need to know. There is, and these are just, of course, my opinions. I reproduce them, so I think they're pretty valid, but take it for what it's worth with any CE or any information. Absorb it, analyze it, adapt it to what you know. But to me, creating the culture environment of leadership involves understanding first what management is, and the process of management over time leads to a leadership and the culture of what you expect. What I mean is, and this is my best analogy, and I don't mean anything demeaning out of this, is that my best analogy for people to understand why employees are difficult to manage is simply because employees are like kids. Not in they're your children, but meaning that people like to push the boundaries of things and know the limits of what you say. If I tell someone, can you call these recall patients that overdue? And of course, I don't follow up, or I don't give them the training to do so, which is very important also, because training is important to give the skills to people so that they can reach your goal, which also needs to be defined. For example, if I just say, I want my schedule full, but you don't clarify anything else, how are they going to do it? But if I say, hey, I want my schedule to be full, and one of the first things I want you to do is follow up on these recall patients, and this is how you do it, then now you have clarity with training. Certainly we're not talking about that at this point, but that gives them the ability to complete it. Now, beyond that, what I mean employees are like kids is because, well, it's work. We all have a baseline of work that we do. Some of us work fast, some of us work slower. We have an average speed that we do. And if I told them to do this on top of their duties that they've been doing and accustomed to, it's a change. And most people don't like change. It's a little scary, it's a little unnerving, but studies have shown that you can easily increase 10% of someone's duties at one point, and they can easily adapt it. And so, for example, if you give them this duty and then you don't follow up, and they say, oh, you know what? I followed up on 3 patients, 10 patients a day, and you didn't even ask me about it. The next day he's like, I'm just going to follow up on 5. And before you know it, kind of peters out because there's no follow-up on it. So the first point is of management. You have to understand the skills of managing, and you have to understand why people don't want to do this. And it simply requires follow-up. It's not micromanage, it's not demeaning them. It's creating the standard and having them hold accountable at the first stage. Over time, one becomes a leader because the expectation and the culture of your office gets changed. For example, in my office now, because my employees have worked with me for many years, many over a decade, they know through the years that when I implement something new, I usually explain why it benefits them, myself in the office, and the patient, of course, and I follow up on it. And they know if they don't do it, well, then, yeah, I'm going to go and follow up with them. And if there's not training that's offered, then I will train them or instruct them on how to do things. But then over time, they've realized that, hey, when he says something, he really means it, because he will basically not hound me, but follow up with me until I get good. So over time, one ascends this ladder or pyramid or whatever you want to call it of leadership, because eventually your office is like, yeah, he just expects it, but also he's a man of his word, and it has benefits to us also. Because in reality, one of the biggest things that employees want, and you always see these threads, should I pay them more? Should I just give them a raise? Yeah, you can give people raises for merits and doing good or whatever you feel like it's valid. But one of the biggest things that people want in a work environment is equality. They want to feel like when they're working with people, Susie over there is doing the same duties as myself. I don't want to feel like Susie is slacking off while I have to pick up her slack and she gets the same pay and keeps her job. And so one of the beauty and eventually of being a leader is your office understands that. And they're like, you know what? This guy or gal lady, this boss really holds everyone accountable. I feel safe. I feel fair in this work environment. So to answer your question, that's a gist. That's a summary of how you become a manager.
Well, it sounds like one of the big principles there is the follow up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you got to follow up. You can't. And it's like I said, I totally get about the whole kids thing, and I think most of us, and we have a lot of people watching right now. So guys, if you have any more questions, please chime in. But with your team, I mean, you tell them something, but you got to audit it. You got to make sure they're actually doing it right, or else, I mean, it's human nature. Right?
It is human. Let's think about it. Like, if you got paid a job and you found out in your job that you could spend half your day surfing the internet, reading Instagram on your phone, or going on Facebook without any penalties, who of us here would not do that? I mean, the temptation is there. And that, I'm not upset when someone does that. I understand it's human nature, and I understand that people need a break from their brains. So I really don't care. But you have to know the goal for the day to be accomplished. And if that doesn't get accomplished, then yes, now we have a problem.
Right, right. I love it. I love it. So let's go to the next question, which is another big question, right?
Oh, yeah. Bring
Like
up.
I said, keep on bringing the questions there. But the next big question was, how do I improve my leadership skills? Right?
Oh,
Because you didn't you don't. There's no leadership classes in dental school. At least when I was going, when we were going,
there was nothing.
there was no business. There's like here's your DDS degree, and they kick you in the butt and go.
Here's a copy pen. This is what you do. Yeah.
So really, I mean, how do you? So the question is, how do I improve my leadership skills?
Well, so I always believe that good CE, is the distillation of what works. Everyone should take CE, be it for clinical, non-clinical, to become a leader. You should research whatever company or product you're trying to learn because, hey, we have the internet. We got Facebook groups. We got Dental Town. Whatever you want to look at, you can find feedback on most products. And so to become a better leader, certainly you can take Dental Maverick, or there are other courses that Glenn has been a part of that have helped him and other doctors too. But to become a better leader, it takes practice just as with anything. Think about the first time you prepped a crown. I remember the gold crown I prepped on this guy that was a home builder. And I remember how long it took me and how slow I was and how, of course, it's dental school, so it's real slow, but it took forever to get this nice crown. Well, now I could prep a crown. I'm not the speediest person. I'm kind of obsessive, but my crown preparations and the fit of my crown are unbelievably amazing. And the margins are so smooth now because I have a CEREC versus when I started practicing 15 years ago. Same thing. Talking and managing and become a better leader is a skill that takes time to learn and it takes effort to implement. Now, in Dental Maverick, I break it down for you to understand why management is needed and only falls on a couple of reasons. And then, like I said, because I'm a dentist, I know how to explain things in a manner that dentists like the principle and then what and why to say and something to duplicate that you can copy and eventually adjust on the fly on your own. And so it's as simple as that. Once you start learning what to say, you approach a situation where, you feel that guilt, that tug on your body, something's bothering you when you have something that doesn't go right. Well, that's an indication for you to address it. And each small change leads to massive changes. And it doesn't have to be major. You don't want the major events. You don't want to start there. You start with little things. Many of us have assistants where you're like, oh, it drives me crazy that she doesn't put this instrument out, Well, that's one of the easiest things to just start talking to someone about. And many people have this fallacy, have this issue where they bottle it up. And you've seen it before. I've done it when I was younger. All of a sudden you blow up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then your employee thinks you're crazy. And they don't know why, because you're like, you didn't set it up for 50 times. And you're like, 50 times? I just didn't set it up today. Because in your memory, you remember it all. But in theirs, it was most likely not a known or most likely not something that was important to them, or the fact that you didn't relay the importance to them. And so little things like that. That's how you become a leader. You just you have little conversations, discussions here, and of course there's a sequence how we can address this. But simply you start that one little thing, you change one little thing, and over the course of changing the little things, your office will see that, hey, this guy has standards, or this lady has standards. He or she wants to hold everyone to these standards. And it's in reality, when that occurs, most people, even yourself, the conversation's a little difficult, and the employee in the physical moment doesn't like that. But if you think about it, in the end, once you become a leader, they think back and they actually appreciate it, because you end up creating, like I said, this environment, this culture where everyone's fair and plays their part.
Well, and that's another thing too. So a lot of times people are like, okay, well, how do I become another leader? Okay, what books do I need to read? Okay, let me read these books. Let me just binge read all these books, and all of a sudden, there you go. No, it's like a whole process, right? It's not like it's just like, when you're learning to become a dentist and you're learning the basics, right? You learn the basics when you get out of dental school, and you're working on it for the rest of your life, basically, right? Or it's like when you work out, people are like, okay, hey, I want to be ripped and do all this stuff. Let me go work out like one time. I'll do like CrossFit one time, and that's it. I'm done, right? It's like a whole process there. And I think it's just amazing how sometimes people are like, I read that book and nothing happened or whatever. And I'm like, dude, you just started, man.
Implementation, it's delayed gratification. That's what it boils down to. If you want success of something, you got to go through the hardship of it first. You got to go through the trials. It can be with anything. For Nifty Thrifty at the beginning, I'm sure you worked your butt off. You probably call all these manufacturers. You probably got shot down left and right. But eventually now it's easier. You work through the pain, and now you got the gain. I mean,
So I want to ask this kind of follow up with that question there. And guys, like I see some questions that I'm going to get to it, but I want to ask them my question myself here. If you guys have some questions, please type it in the comments section. If you like what you're listening to, type in Maverick in the comments. Okay, so my question is this, so dentists, they have this big problem. It's called the I know everything problem. Like, I know everything. Oh yeah, I know everything, right? And let's talk about that. Why is that a problem? Because if you think about it, most people in our industry, right, that are high achievers doing really well, they had a coach of some sort, right? No one just comes in, they're just like this awesome person that knows everything, right? Oh. Every single person has a coach and a mentor, right? So let's address that, Tuan, because that's like always a big thing there. Because people, that's what dentists we think. We're like, oh man, I'm going to figure out my thing myself. And what ends up happening is they waste even more time.
Yes.
Right? Trying to figure it out themselves when they could have just took a shortcut, right?
You know what? What's that saying? Don't reinvent the wheel. We all can reinvent the wheel. You can read every book in the world to gather a baseline knowledge of everything and then integrate it and figure out yourself with trial and error. But that's really difficult. That takes a really long time. So, I agree with you. I have partners. I have people that I bounce ideas off. A lot of them are more successful than I am in different realms of things, but it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable to bounce ideas off and hear what people have to say. And I encourage everyone to do that. You got Glenn here. If you know him well, if you're a part of his group, do it. Maverick has a part where we have monthly chats. It keeps people engaged together so that we have this community where you feel like, hey, you know what? It's safe to bounce ideas and learn off each other.
Yeah. So let's kind of dive right into Dental Maverick, right? What it's all about. And the great thing I love about your program is, I hear dentists sometimes they'll come up with all the excuses, right? But we get mad at our patients when they come up with excuses not to do treatment. Okay. But in reality, dentists, we do the same thing sometimes, right? Oh man, that's too expensive. I don't have enough time. I can't take time out of my practice. But you know what you've created, I thought was pretty unique. You actually take care of a lot of those objections. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the Dental Maverick program.
Okay, well, these are common complaints that you get. And so I do my best to address it because if a lot of, how do I say this? A lot of us think about the costs out of pocket, but we don't think about the opportunities gained in the end. And so for those people that want to learn these skills, Dental Maverick is great because it offers the skills for you. The return of investment. I have a list. I literally have a list. And if everyone's ever interested, I can give people emails or doctors to contact where doctors have increased their practices 30, 50%.
Oh, there's a lot of them actually in Thrifty.
Yeah,
a lot of them in here too. So guys, if you've gone through the program, please let's see a shout out as well, so people can ask as well. But there's a lot of you in
But I lost my train of thought for a moment. But some of the objections you have, like, I can't take time out of practice.
Yeah, I can't take time off, and I can't travel.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's virtual. It's on the internet. And not only that, it's broken up into increments where most of them are anywhere between 25 to 45 minutes, where you can listen it in the car if you're an audio person. If you're a visual person, you can look at it in your office. You look at it at the gym if you want when you're running on a treadmill. And I'm not a fluff person. I don't need to beat around the bush. I want to get to the point of what you learn. Like I said, we talk about principle, we talk about the what, the why, and the how. And the how, depending on what it is, you have systems to exactly duplicate, words to say, verbiage to say, duplicate, and you just go with it. And then every week you have a couple of points just to follow up on because it's manageable for the next week to implement. So literally, all of us have time to drive home, sit at the gym, between patients, you can watch and learn. And when you do, every week you learn something, and before you know it, you're like, man, I've learned a lot. And then it adds up, and you'll see it very soon because you'll see your profits rising, and you can be like some some dentists where they've increased their offices 100% or more.
Yeah, and really, you can do it at home, at work, wherever you're at. That takes, if you're worried about the travel, if you're worried about taking time out of your practice, well, you can fit this in. You fit this in your life, and then from there, what's amazing is that, well, there's a group that you keep up with, right? That you bounce ideas off. Exactly what Tuan just said there, right? Bouncing those ideas out. You know, you're not on this little island by yourself and trying to figure it out and trying to watch people on social media and maybe talk there. You go through this program and then you work with people who've gone through the program too. I love it. Absolutely. I love it. Okay, so let's take some questions because we're blabbing away here and I don't want to miss any of these questions. But okay, so what has been your biggest ROI? Instrument, equipment, procedure.
Okay, that's a big question. Biggest ROI. My Lumadent headlight. I mean, it doesn't cost me much, but I use it every day of my life for years.
You were one of the first guys. I have to bring this up. You were one of the first guys that designed his ops without any overhead lights.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. That's a principle of design ergonomics, I believe, maybe, or somebody. But those headlights are amazing. I mean, they cost like $600 from Lumadent. It's an Asian guy, a dentist that invented it, but created it. And I love his product. It's amazing. And he's going to be at Dental Maverick Summit, or the company will be. And I'm sure, I'm assuming there's a Nifty deal for that. And if there is, then people should hit Glenn up and get those lights. But
so yeah, you have the light, and then your assistant also wears the light.
We all have lights. We have many lights in the office because they're amazing. Beyond that, I have a Shirt Blue Cam. I love it. You know, I don't have an Omni Cam. I don't have the new Prime Scan or whatever it is. I'm still on the Blue Cam. And I can do bridges, I can do implants, I can do single crowns. I love it. That thing is very cost effective at this point, especially if you buy it used. But even if not, I bought my Blue Cam new, and yeah, it costs a lot. But what am I going on? 10 years of using it now?
Yeah, you've already like.
No, I have a lab fee now. I mean, especially once I started doing implants, I make my screw retain crowns. I love those. You just tighten those up and they fit in like that. So I'd say that for me. What else?
And what about procedure? What is your money procedure?
Well, you know what? I'm not the dentist that does. I don't do. What do I don't do? I don't do root canals. I don't do dentures. All I really.
So you basically don't do all the stuff we hate.
Yeah. Basically, every day I either do fillings or crowns. Most of all, I do some ortho. I do some and that. But most of the time, I do fillings and crowns, and I love doing those things. They're all money makers to me. They're all profitable because at the type of office that I've created, I like to set the fees of what I want. My fillings are at least $300 a filling. I get $1,700 for a crown, but I also schedule 3 hours for a crown. I don't care if it's one surface filling gets an hour for it. 2 fillings is like at least an hour and a half or almost 2 hours. I just work really slow because I enjoy it. But I've created the office that I wanted because I had a vision of what I wanted. And so
you're not skating around, you're not running around. I mean, you want to practice dentistry the way you want to practice dentistry.
Yeah, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. I got some friends that are beasts and they can work like speed like there's no tomorrow, and they don't get tired, and they feed off that stamina, and they feed off that pressure, and they feed off the volume. That's not me. Some of you are. And if you do, know your advantages and strengths or disadvantages and create the style of office that you want. And you'll be very successful once you meld what you want with who you are. And that's when the magic happens too.
I love it, guys. If you had to just get one pearl tonight, that is it right there, right? Because all the time, there's always someone complaining about like, oh, I hate dentistry. I don't want to do this. I want to do that. And they're complaining and whatnot. And the big thing is a lot of times we kind of have control over that, right? We have a control of why we hate going to our office or why we hate doing these things. If you hate certain part of dentistry, don't do it anymore.
That's right.
Don't do it anymore. I hate dentures. Don't do it anymore.
I don't do it.
Like, hey, I don't do dentures here. Send it off. Okay. It causes you that much trouble. Right. Or I have a team member that's trying, get rid of them. Okay. It's very easy, like the things you don't like, just get rid of it. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I hate, working, like skating from room to room, blah, 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 blah. Well, don't work like that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you need, lower your overhead to a point where you don't have to skate around or something like that, or do bigger procedures, take advantage. You can control that. And it's just maddening when I see people kind of complain about these things. And I think to myself, why don't you just get rid of that person? Or why don't you just stop doing that?
You know what? Our careers are so long. It's a marathon. Think about it. Some of us graduate in our mid-20s or 30s. And we're going to work till arbitrarily 60, 65 or whatever. That's a long time. Think about it. Would you be, most of us, would we be in a marriage, a relationship, a friendship that long if we didn't like what was occurring? No, right? No. We would find an exit or find a solution. So why do dentists that are in charge of their office, that have the ability to create the office they want and get to the goal, choose to practice like this for the rest of their life? It makes no sense to me. You know, I'm on insurances. Well, or it's the surroundings around me. Well, you know what? You're finding excuses not to find the resolution that you want.
There you go, guys. If you can get one pearl, that's it right there. So look, let's talk about the Dental Maverick Summit. Okay, so let's talk about that. Who are the speakers, right? Like, I'm there, right? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So come there. I got some Nifty Thrifty shirts. I'll hook you guys up. But who else are speakers there? You already named dropped a few people. Let's go through the list there.
Well, Glenn is our first speaker of the morning. I'm very excited, and I wanted him first on purpose because of his energy first. Like, I'm telling you, like, you know, I was like, of all the people speaking, I was like, who should I start with? And I'm like, you know what? I have high energy, but I'm not speaking this year, so I want Glenn to start this off. And so Glenn is the first speaker. Beyond that, you have some of your favorite dental speakers that you may know. There's Len Tao of Bird Eye. You guys know him.
Bird Eye guy.
He's a reputation guy, but this time he's actually talking about how to deal with negative feedback, negative reviews, which is a common question that we get seen. And so I listen to advice, I implement it in mine, and I use it to my advantage. So we got Len Tao. We got another doctor. We got an Asian representing doctor. His name is Charlton Ho. You know, like, he's a dentist out in the Northeast, and he retired, pretty much retired. He just works one day for a couple hours, I believe, for fun. But he's going to talk about retirement because that's one of the biggest things that a lot of us want to plan and know. And this doc had the ability, if he wanted to, but he didn't, to retire in his 40s. And so he's still only in his early 50s, I believe, and he's like pretty much retired. So we're going to gain insight on that. And this is very practical advice. I've reviewed these lectures already, so I know it's practical. Many of you know Brett Murphy from Houston or around that area. This guy is a beast. He's unbelievable. Like, you're going to meet him. He has fee-for-service offices, and one of the facts he sent me is in 10 years, he's collected $35 million with 50% overhead.
Yeah, I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah. And he's about to go sabbatical, he said, just sail on a sailboat around the world or something like that. So we're going to learn some of the brain, some of the factors that Brett has for his office that can help all of us. Many people see on Facebook, Dr. Z, Olia, because she's the Z group billing, and you see those checks for like $50,000 for like medical checks, yeah. So she's going to be very factual to give us all an overview on medical billing, how we can implement it if we want to learn it, and certainly she can help you also all learn. And I'm sure you'll meet her, and maybe there'll be a Nifty Thrifty deal for all this stuff too. And then we have Ryan O'Neill, that some of you may know out east in your Tennessee. This guy's a beast. He's in his 30s. He's younger than I am. I don't know how old you are, Glenn, but I assume.
Yeah, he's younger. He's younger than I am too. But it's okay, man. We're Asian, man. So
we look young forever. He has 5 offices.
Oh man, that's amazing.
In his 30s. And then we got this lady that when you see on Facebook too, or Nifty Thrifty too, Emily Latran. You know, I included her because perspective is needed sometimes. Like you're saying, a lot of us complain about work. Oh, this patient, that patient, my employee. But you know what? We got to remind ourselves, we live in the good old US of A. We are already in one of the most prosperous, or the most prosperous country there is. And so we need a little grounding sometimes, I feel like. You know, like she's going to go over how she escaped a country that during a war and had nothing and made something for herself.
She's got an amazing story. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. And then 2 more people. We got Dr. Todd Ehrlich, which many of you know. He's a CEREC guy, or enamel. It used to be Cerecology, but I learned from him. He's a beast. He's going to talk about digital technologies and how it will affect your upcoming future, which is very important because you have to be ahead. You don't become a stagnant.
Everything's going towards digital.
Yeah. And then we got Superwoman herself, Gina Dorfman, which I know I'm almost 100% there's a Nifty Thrifty deal for Yappy.
Oh, yeah.
The Yappy lady, she owns dental offices. She's on a month before the event next in 2 weeks. She's spending a month in Hawaii because she can. She's an amazing speaker. If you've heard her speak, she's going to talk about leadership, but think about it. She runs Yappy that many of us use.
Oh, yeah.
No offices on top of that. I mean,
and she has time for her family. That's another big thing too.
She does. I mean, it's unbelievable. That's why I call her Superwoman.
I love it. So guys, I'm excited about this event. Like I said, I'm so lucky to be kicking it off. And I'll tell you what, I definitely have a lot of Nifty Thrifty deals. Okay, at when I speak, I want to be. I have a very unique way of giving those deals out. So the Dental Maverick Summit, it's coming up in it's like 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
It's in 2 weeks, okay? And guys, if you like what you're hearing right now, type in the comments section Maverick. And here's the thing. Tuan he's very easy to get a hold of on social media. If you have any questions, I bump questions off of him all the time. I'd email him, I borderline almost harass him back in the day. And that's the thing. The thing that I love about Tuan is that he always has time, right, to answer your question. Not maybe sometimes because he gets so many messages, maybe it might take a while, but he always has time to answer your questions here. And it would be so awesome to meet him in person here. So let's talk about that, right? Let's talk about the event because you're in the Nifty Thrifty Dentist. You're in the Nifty Thrifty Dentist group, okay? So Tuan, I'm gonna just make things uncomfortable for you. And what can you do for the Nifty Thrifty members, okay? Nifty Thrifty Dentist. So hold on, let me put this little thing up. I know a bunch of you guys are hanging around. You guys. A bunch of people always jump on Tuan. It's almost like eBay. Back in the day on eBay where you're trying to bid. Yeah. And you slide in, you just snipe it from someone who's been trying to bid on it. Like all these people kind of slide in at the Nifty deal alert because they know like about 35 minutes in, we start talking about Nifty deals. So let's talk about for the Dental Maverick Summit in 2 weeks, right? The weekend in Austin, Texas.
Yes, and we're running out of seats though. So if you want to come, you got to sign up.
So you know what? I'm from Texas, and so I know all about Austin. But for those who are like, you know what? Okay, I'm coming then, but what's up with Austin, Tuan?
Austin.
It's Austin. That's all we got to say. Okay.
#1 city rated by U.S. World News.
And you know what? And I'm telling you right now. I was just in South Carolina not too long ago. I had their barbecue. It was all right. But if you want some serious barbecue, there's a whole lineup of places in Austin.
Oh, yeah. And we will have barbecue for one night at the summit.
There you go. Let's talk about the summit. What can you do, Nifty Thrifty deal for people who have not signed up? It's going to be here in 2 weeks. What can you do, Tuan?
All right. Only for Nifty Thrifty members that are listening or viewing this after the fact. We're almost out of seats, but we still have some seats left. There's, of course, always a Nifty deal. All you gotta do is go to www.dentalmavericksummit.com, scroll down, sign up, and when you go through the login process, you enter promo code NIFTY, and that will take $75 off your registration.
Woo! Yes, $75 right there.
It's only $450 right now for 9 CE hours minus 75. What does that take it to? $375? $375 for 9 CE hours. Plus all the food, all the drinks that you can have both nights. And you get breakfast, and you get lunch during the event. You literally are...
what else do you need?
You just come down and you got it all covered. I'm telling you, there is no other CE in the nation, I can pretty much say, that offers this level for this.
The open bar, that's huge.
Yeah. It's going to be fantastic.
You don't have to pull that old college move where you had to go buy some alcohol and drink it in your room and then come down.
No, and I know because I'm pretty sure I bought Makers, so I got like good booze too. Well, stuff that people are like, no, this is like, all right, it's gonna be good.
I love it. So one more time, okay. So you go to the demo. We'll put in the comment section. We'll put the web address to get there, and you use promo code NIFTY.
NIFTY, all lowercase.
Lowercase NIFTY, get $75 off.
There you go.
I love it. Tuan, I am so looking forward to this. This is going to be so awesome. And, you know, I mean, I've known you for so long. I've never met you in person. I'm looking forward to that. And then a bunch of people who are speaking. I mean, I talk to them all the time on social media, and I'm like, I've never met you in person. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Fun.
Well, Tuan, thank you so much for jumping on. And, you know, before we jump off, any kind of last comments or anything before we jump off here?
No, I'd say I hope to see you all in Texas, in Austin, Texas, in under 2 weeks. And if you haven't checked out either the summit or Dental Maverick itself, I encourage you to do so. I can make you a lot of money, decrease the stress in your life, and give you the enjoyment that if you don't have with dentistry. Right? That's what it's all about. You know, we work to live, not live to work. So we might as well create what we want at work.
There you go. All right. Well, we'll end on that. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you later.
Later.